This year, the Minnesota Vikings, their biggest regret is going to be getting rid of Mackenzie Alexander and Trey Waynes. I don't I don't get this. I get Trey Waynes. Trey Waynes is a lot to pay for a starting corner. Well, they didn't have to pay him a lot, but now they're going to because he deserved a lot higher of a contract. But getting rid of Mackenzie Alexander was really dumb. Keeping Trey Waynes, they could have kept Trey Waynes too. They could have. They already got rid of Xavier Rhodes. That was a great move. That was an amazing move by the Vikings. Well, it was an expected move too. But they have a ton of contracts. I was talking about Shamar Stephen. They can get rid of him easy. He's garbage. You can easily replace him. In fact, you can replace him with someone who looks better than him. Riley Reif, overpaid contract. I can't tell you that Rashad Hill will look better, but I can tell you that Rashad Hill is a good player, and I want to see what this Ezra Cleveland can do. Could have got rid of that contract. There's multiple contracts they could have got rid of to keep both Trey Waynes and Mackenzie Alexander, and that's why I say this is going to be the biggest regret for the Vikings, is because I know the Vikings are a good team. I know their offense is really good. Even with Dalvin Cook injured, their offense looks great. I know that. Justin Jefferson, we have to see what he can do, but outside of that, the offense is great. I mean, if Kirk Cousins has enough time inside the pocket, I think the Vikings are going to go 11-4. That's not possible. What am I saying? It would be 11-5, 12-4. I know they're that kind of a team if Kirk Cousins can get enough time, which kind of sucks because there is a lot of pass rushers we have to play this year that are going to kind of ruin our line, but we're going to see how that goes. And I know the Vikings defense is great. I know their defensive line has improving to do. They have great edge rushers, of course. They brought in Michael Pierce. We know he can stop the run. But outside of that, we do need some more run stoppers. We need some people to get to the passer on the interior side of the line. So that we're a little bit iffy about. Linebackers, we are set at linebackers. Linebacker group is amazing. Eric Kendricks, Anthony Barr. There's Cameron Smith. We brought in Troy Dye. We have, what's the guy's name? Eric Wilson. Eric Wilson's great. Our linebacker group is amazing. I mean, a lot of teams have great linebackers. Not many teams are bad at linebacker, but just because there's so many players that play linebacker just coming out of college that are great just because they have to be fit to get in the position. Very competitive position. But cornerback, one of the most important positions for every team. Outside of quarterback and wide receiver and running back, I think corners are probably like second, because I feel like wide receivers and running backs, it's easier to get talent there than it is to get talent at corner. And we had talent at corner. We just did not use it properly. We had Mike Hughes. We still have Mike Hughes, but obviously, like I've been saying, we don't know how Mike Hughes is going to look. We cannot be confident that we know that he's a great starting corner, that he's even a starting corner at all. We've just seen him get injured a lot. Trey Waynes, we know, is a starting corner. Trey Waynes looked amazing. Mackenzie Alexander, one of my favorite corners inside the slot. I think he's an amazing slot corner. And for three corner, we had Chris Boyd and we had Holton Hill. Our cornerback group was not bad. Okay, I forgot we had Xavier Rhodes as our starting corner. Get him out of here. Okay, get rid of Xavier Rhodes and you already look a lot better at the cornerback position. But getting rid of Trey Waynes, I mean, our starting two corners would be Mike Hughes, Trey Waynes. That's good. You got to plan on Mike Hughes getting injured, and then you can bring in Jeff Gladney, who was a first-round pick. Now, people would say you want first-round picks to be starters out of college. I disagree. I think you want first-round picks to be able to develop and be players the coaches know that they can rely on. And because I like being safe with first-round picks. You can't miss on all these first-round picks, and you got to be safe with your picks. And I think Jeff Gladney is a pretty safe first-round pick. I mean, he's not going to be bad. I don't think he's going to be bad at all. I think he's going to be really good. But starting corner out of college, a two corner, aside Mike Hughes, he's going to be a starting corner when Mike Hughes gets injured. We have to plan on that happening. It would just be a lot better if we could keep Trey Waynes and Mackenzie Alexander. You could play Mackenzie Alexander inside the slot. Now, people will say bringing in Cameron Dantzler was the steal of the draft. I totally disagree. I think Cameron Dantzler is a bust. Taking him in the third round was only a good pick because he was expected to go late or early first round. No, early second round. He was expected to go early second round, and he fell all the way to the late third round. Not a steal at all. No, I'm not surprised he fell that far. In fact, I think if the Vikings didn't take him, Cameron Dantzler would have fell to late fourth round. I don't think any teams were ready to jump on this very lengthy receiver that has a lot of errors. He has a lot of red flags, and I don't know if Cameron Dantzler is going to be a great corner at all. I don't know if you can use him on special teams either. I think you can use him as a pretty good 3 sometimes. If someone gets injured, maybe he can come in. I don't know how Cameron Dantzler is going to look, really. I didn't like his play style that much in college, but we need corners. It was clear we needed corners, so we did take Cameron Dantzler, who was not expected to still be there, but it was no surprise he was still there. So Jeff Gladney, as a number 3 corner, would be a great decision for the Vikings, I think, because you can move on from Trey Waynes, you can move on from Mike Hughes if he cannot play anymore. He's about to finish his rookie contract, and you can move on from that. And then Mackenzie Alexander was great inside the slot. Mackenzie Alexander was one of the most underrated Vikings of last year. Of course, it was CJ Ham first, and I would probably have Mackenzie Alexander number 2. Maybe I think Dan Bailey would actually be number 2. No one's talking about Dan Bailey. Dan Bailey had an amazing season last season, and no one wants to talk about it. It's because there's a lot of kickers, though. I mean, what's the Baltimore Ravens kicker? Really good. Will Lutz for the Saints? Really good. There's a lot of good kickers, and no one's talking about Dan Bailey, even though he is Mr. Reliable for the Minnesota Vikings. So I would say he is number 2. But Mackenzie Alexander's probably number 3. He was a great slot corner. He was really good against tight ends. He was really good against any third-string wide receiver. Now, it kind of sucks to see because he was taken, I think, early second round or late first round. You don't want to grab a slot corner there, even though how great of a position they are. You want to use one of your later picks, but I still think it was a great pick. Second round, amazing slot corner. I think we could have kept Mackenzie Alexander. I know we could have kept Mackenzie Alexander, and there's a reason the Bengals took on both those players. It's because they're good players, and Mackenzie Alexander is an underpaid player for that much talent. Trey Waynes, I can't say the same for Trey Waynes. I cannot say the same for Trey Waynes. I don't think he would have been worth his contract. I think he has a good amount of flaws. He's a very limited corner. And that's the reason why I say this is the biggest regret that the Vikings are going to have. They have an amazing team outside of corners, and corners is one of the most important positions, and it's a huge question mark. I mean, having Jeff Gladney and Mike Hughes as your starting 2, we don't know how that's going to look. We still don't know what Mike Hughes looks like. Jeff Gladney is a rookie out of college, out of TCU. Great college, though. TCU is a great college. And then you have, outside of that, you have Cameron Dantzler, Chris Boyd, Holton Hill. There's some other guy I'm missing right now. Oh, we brought in Harrison Hand, but he's the special teams guy. Harrison Hand is not there. I think both Harrison Hand and Chris Boyd are very similar in that they're great special teams. I wouldn't use them much as corner unless if you have to. Cameron Dantzler and Holton Hill, though, I would use as your third and slot corner kind of area. Cutting Xavier Rhodes, great decision. Getting rid of Trey Waynes and Mackenzie Alexander when you have overpaid players on your roster that are not good at all, awful decision. Terrible. I don't like it at all. I thought that they were going to keep Mackenzie Alexander. I thought Mackenzie Alexander was going to not be a very expensive player. He was an expensive player. Not at all. Not at all. He was taken by the Bengals, and it wasn't that much money. Trey Waynes, I'm not surprised that they couldn't keep Trey Waynes just because he is worth a lot of money because of his positional value. Corner is a very important position, and he's a pretty reliable 1-2 corner, especially for the Bengals, who I know they got Joe Burrow. They're probably not going to be anything crazy, though, even with Joe Burrow. And they got T. Higgins in the second round. I don't think they're going to be anything crazy. So taking Trey Waynes to help the other players develop was a great decision for them, and Mackenzie Alexander. So that's my take on this. It's going to be their biggest regret. It's going to be their biggest regret. You can't have a question mark at corner when it's one of the most important positions. When you had corners you could rely on. Trey Waynes, amazing starting corner. No, not amazing starting corner like Pro Bowl, but really good. He's a reliable starting corner. I mean, he paired up well against a lot of players on man and zone coverage. You love to see that. Mackenzie Alexander, one of the greatest corners on zone coverage, if you ask me. Now, of course, he's not. You can't compare him to like Tyrann Mathieu, I know he's a safety, but he's technically a slot corner, if you ask me. I think that's more of his position. You know what? No, Tyrann Mathieu's a defensive back. There is some players in the NFL that don't even have a position. They're just defensive back. That's all they are. You can use them in any way. I feel like Mike Hughes or Mackenzie Alexander was one of those players you could use in multiple ways because he was great on zone coverage. So that's what I have to say about this. Please be good at corner. That's all I ask for the Vikings. That's what you have to watch for the most for this Viking season is how they look at the cornerback position. It's going to be interesting to see. How do you think it looks? How do you think it's going to look? Let me know.